All right, we are diving deep into that incredible Champions League match between Barcelona and PSG. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a total tactical masterclass from Paris Saint-Germain. We're going to break down exactly how they dismantled Barcelona. So think about it. Barcelona scores first. They're dominating the game, looking totally comfortable. For the first 30 minutes, you'd be forgiven for thinking this was their match to lose. So how on earth did it all go so wrong? Let's get into it. So, first up, a shocking result. Now, the final score was 2-1 to PSG. But honestly, forget the score. That number doesn't even begin to tell the real story. The real story is the massive tactical shift that completely flipped this game upside down. Okay, so for the first 35 minutes, Barcelona looked absolutely unstoppable. They were all over PSG. But the key moment came right before halftime. PSG didn't panic. They just weathered the storm, stayed composed, and that laid the foundation for a total second-half takeover. Which brings us to our second section, Enrique's second-half master plan. Because while Barcelona started to look a little lost, PSG's manager, Luis Enrique, was on the sidelines playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. I mean, it really was a tale of two halves, wasn't it? The first was all Barca. They were setting the tempo, forcing mistakes, everything. But that second half, it belonged completely to Paris. And trust me, that shift was no accident. It was all by design. And here it is, the genius tactical switch from Enrique. He decided to unleash his wingbacks, pushing Nuno Mendes way up the field into what was basically an attacker's position. This wasn't just a minor tweak. It was a game-changing move that hit Barcelona right where it hurt. And wow, did it have an immediate impact. Mendes basically became a one-man wrecking crew. He neutralized Yamal and got an assist. Man of the match, no question. He and Hakimi on the wings just proved why they're seen as the best fullback pair in the world, while Vitinha just absolutely bossed the midfield. So let's get to the heart of the issue, which is Barcelona's predictable defensive flaw. See, this loss wasn't just bad luck. It wasn't a fluke. It was the result of a fatal tactical error that we have definitely seen from them before. You know, the analysts watching this live were just floored. As one of them put it, a defensive mistake of this magnitude, it just doesn't happen at this level of football. In the Champions League, you just don't see that kind of defensive breakdown. We're talking about the high defensive line. It's Hansi Flick's go-to strategy. The idea is you push your defenders way up to squeeze the pitch and catch attackers offside. It's high risk, high reward. But against a team with the speed and smarts of PSG, that risk just turned out to be fatal. So why did it fail so badly? Well, pretty much everything went wrong at once. The defenders were sucked in centrally, which left the wings totally exposed. No one, and I mean no one, was putting pressure on Vitinha with the ball. And the communication looked non-existent. It was a total system failure just waiting to be exploited. And PSG knew exactly what to do. Okay, let's break this down even further. Section 4, Anatomy of the Winning Goal. This is the exact moment where PSG's brilliant game plan and Barcelona's biggest weakness crashed into each other and decided the match. Just watch how this plays out. First, Vitinha gets the ball with all the time in the world. Next, Hakimi sees this massive gaping hole on the wing and just takes off. Then, Vitinha hits a perfectly weighted pass that completely beats the offside trap. From there, it's easy. Hakimi controls it and crosses for the winning goal. It is a textbook punishment for a high line. I love this quote from one of the analysts. He called the space on the wings a 3-lane highway, and that's exactly what it was. It just perfectly captures how exposed Barcelona left themselves at the most important moment of the game. And that brings us to the million-dollar question, right? The question everyone was asking. There's less than a minute left. A draw is a perfectly fine result, so why on earth would you go all in on a high-risk offside trap in the literal last seconds of the game? It was just a baffling decision. When you really think about that decision, you start to realize that this loss was so much more than just dropping 3 points. This gets into some really serious questions about the entire coaching philosophy at Barcelona. I mean, the contrast between the two managers on the day couldn't have been clearer. You had Luis Enrique, who saw a problem, adopted his tactics at halftime, and won the match because of it. And then you had Hansi Flick, who saw his system failing and just stuck with it, all the way to that final fatal whistle. And even after the match, Flick seemed to double down on his approach. When you hear him say things like, "We must play according to our style," It really suggests a reluctance to change the very system that just cost them the game.
So, the takeaway here is pretty simple. Barcelona didn't just get outplayed on the pitch, they were completely outsmarted on the sideline. PSG won because they were tactically flexible. Barcelona lost because they were rigid and predictable, and that exposed a massive strategic problem. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. Can a team really win at the highest level with a philosophy that is so easily figured out and so brutally exposed? Or is a major change in thinking at Barcelona not just something they should consider, but something that's totally inevitable?